Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of CMU News. I am your co-host, Berkeley.
And I'm Craig.
And we are here to share some tips and tricks. But going off of last week's news segment, it is Casino Marketing University, so we're going to share some tips and techniques that actually launched last week, this news segment. So if you have not seen last week's video, be sure to go check it out. We give some tips and techniques last week as well. But this week, we have gotten some questions about how to even get a hold of the players in the first place. So Craig, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, like you mentioned, we gave some techniques last week about start with a specific event with a date, and you force players to pivot one way or the other, and use that information to actually get them booked on a trip. But we had questions like, well, how do you even get people on the phone? How do you get that conversation? So what I like to do is a multi-channel, multi-touch technique. Okay, so lead with a phone call. It depends. Like, everybody should customize theirs what they're most comfortable with. You may or may not want to leave a voicemail the first time. Let's say here's one. I call, don't leave a voicemail, send an email and just say, hey, I just tried calling you. This is Craig from XYZ Casinos trying to reach out. Saw you came here a couple years ago but haven't been back since. Would love to bring you back in. Wait a day, 2 days. You don't hear back, call again. This time leave a voicemail. Okay? Then wait another day, send an email, say, hey, try calling you a couple times, would love to get a hold of you. You seem like a great player. Just want to see how we can bring you back. Then third time, call. If you don't get a hold of them, send a text, and then send an email that says, hey, I've tried to get a hold of you. It looks like you're not interested. I'll close your file. That's an important one. Be like, hey, I'm going to close this out, because that's like the fear of loss gets triggered in the players. So, hey, looks like you're not interested. I'm going to close this out. But if anything changes, reach out. And then a lot of times that's going to be the one that gets them in. And again, a lot of this will depend on what contact methods you have. You may not have their email address, but you have a phone number. So then you could do call, text, call, voicemail, call, maybe another voicemail. But I would always do multi-channel and multi-touch in each channel, and then maybe set it at 7 total touches, and then set a reminder for yourself to follow back up in 3 months. Unless you get a hold of somebody and they're like, yeah, it's a bad number, it's not them anymore, then of course you got to update your CRM. But the reason it's so important to touch the same channel multiple times is because a lot of times people are interested in what you have to offer, but they're busy, right? Your best players are going to be the busiest ones a lot of times. They've got businesses to run, they're executives, whatever, and they're like, oh man, yeah, I want to talk to them, but now's not a good time, I'll call them back later. And then they're busy, so they forget. But then the next time they see your number come up, oh yeah, that's that person, I do want to answer. And then maybe, again, they weren't able to, but that third time, they'll make it a point to answer or call you back. That's why it's so important to be persistent. I think a lot of us are empathetic, and we're like, I don't want to bug these people. They don't want to hear from me. But the fact is, they're not answering because they don't want to get a hold of you. And sometimes they will answer and be like, don't talk to me. But whatever. Hey, this is what we're paid for, right? Or we're paid to drive revenue. So we can't let that scare us away. So be persistent, because the majority of the time, if they're not answering, it's because they're busy, but they want to hear from you. You've got an amazing property to market. If you don't believe in your property, find another one to work at. But if you do, you've got a great one to promote. You want to bring these people in. So be persistent, get them in. If you don't get them in that first 7 touches, set a reminder for yourself to call back in 3 months, 4 months, and then start the process all over. So that is the multi-touch, multi-channel technique. Tune in next week for another update.
Yeah, that was great. I like the part where you touched on saying, hey, I'll go ahead and take your file out of our system, because I think that is whenever they are like, wait a minute, either yes, I need to call back, or yes, go ahead, and that's whenever you'll finally hear back either way, whether it's a yes or no. So that's a great way to kind of push it of, okay, we've tried, but take it or leave it. So
yep.
Great tip and technique, but that is all we have for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.